That was awesome, Justin. We just got off of a business planning meeting tonight. We spent over 2 hours just sitting there passing ideas back and forth and getting things set up. We have a lot of really fun ideas and things to share with you coming up the next year. I'm super excited about it. A lot of fun activities to include all of you, and we'll be there, and we're gonna bring our team, and we're gonna bring lots of fun stuff. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I gotta hold back for right now because it's all top secret stuff. So
It's
keep it.
just a challenge. Yeah, definitely. It's I think collectively we're very, very excited about what all we have in the works for 2021. We're trying to be more intentional than ever in our endeavors to really provide a service and really truly go to that next level for folks who are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And I just truly, I mean, it's like a lot of it is top secret at this point, but 2021 is going to be one for the record books. So fantastic.
There's definitely some people out there that are going to be hearing from us sooner, though, about these topics because it's inclusive. There are other people that need to be involved. It's not just us. So I'm excited to be reaching out to some awesome people, that we know, and bringing them on board with some of the activities and fun projects we got going on. There's a lot happening. I guess I should just stop talking about it because I'm gonna end up giving something away.
Yeah, that's a challenge. We collectively kind of had the conversation that it really truly feels like we're starting to build something that's bigger than just the Whitkins Realty team. We really truly are trying to be a resource to the community, and that's gonna go across the board. Inclusivity is the key word that I picked out of what you were saying, and that is a genuine focus of ours, to be a resource for every single individual out there. We really want to redouble our efforts for support of local small businesses and nonprofits, and all of that at the end of the day is made possible by our amazing clients. So you're going to hear me say this a number of times on this episode here, but truly, thank you. We love you. We see you. We hear you, and we're just incredibly grateful for uh, every bit of it. Right? It's such a unique profession where we get to go into such a big event in people's lives and try and support them in that endeavor and just make it go as smoothly and successfully as possible. So it's awesome.
Absolutely, that's awesome. It's super exciting. I'll definitely want to piggyback on that and say how thankful and I am to be able to help anybody in the community, and just I'm also just full of gratitude from all the support we've gotten, and I just want to say thank you to everybody too that was involved in our last event. I don't think this is our first podcast video recording we've done together. I'd love to say a quick thank you to everybody for our donations for donuts event. That was so much fun. We had just so many donuts and we gave away so many donuts. That was the
Might
best part of
have
it.
gone
Just
a little bit overboard on the donuts. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, they're donuts, right? I think
Donuts. Yeah.
we found a home for them,
Yeah.
which was a wonderful thing, even though we had some left over. uh, and we pulled together a great load of donations to share. What was the exact? Uh, do you know what the exact number was for it?
Pretty amazing. That was so cool for me. I joked at the river food pantry that I truly felt like Mr. Rogers because they took me through and gave me like a full tour of the river, and it just truly warms your heart. So we were just overwhelmed with gratitude at the outpouring of support of the community. I'm trying to think. I think we had it just floored me how many views of the posts that we had on social media. I want to say it went over 11,000. I think it might have even been more than that. But collectively, with support of so many kind-hearted people, we were able to raise 600 pounds of food and just over $1,800 in monetary contributions. And what the River Food Pantry is able to do with that is just nothing short of a miracle. They hand out over 1,000 meals every single month, and a lot of it goes within like a half a mile radius of where they actually are. There's some kind of marginalized neighborhoods around that area that really, really count on it. So just love the donuts. That was fantastic and fun part of it. Got to support Lane's Bakery and Madison Chocolate, who we got the gluten-free donuts from. But and again, selfishly being able to see everybody, that was so exciting and great for me, trying to do it as socially distanced and responsible as we could, but to really truly be able to help out folks who truly need the support in our community, that's where it's at. So yeah, it was
I
amazing.
thought that was a really cool idea. How we got to like, in a way, you know, it's like double dipping. You got to help out the local bakery, and you got to help out the river food bank pantry. That was just so cool. Where is the river food bank pantry?
They are located on the east side of Madison, northeast side. So, trying to think easiest way. They're kind of like off of Commercial Avenue. Pretty sizable complex, amazing kitchen, and so another plug for them. If anybody out there is ever looking for an organization to volunteer time, they do have really, really smart COVID safe protocols in place so that they still can have volunteer support. They're, one of the reasons that we chose to partner with them for this event is they're one of the few like direct to people in need organizations that's out there. So they actually have a pretty unbelievable on-site commercial kitchen, and they're physically preparing over 1,000 meals to hand out just consistently, and that takes considerable people power. And yeah, so that's something that I think we'll probably revisit at some point and physically go. My son is actually pretty cool. I'm pretty proud of him. Of his own accord, he was very interested in trying to go there and do some volunteering. So we'll be back. We'll see you soon, River Food Pantry.
That is very awesome that he's into doing that. I mean, I think that's a really cool idea too. And I think it's fantastic that they're actually taking the donations and making meals with them. I mean, that is super cool.
Yeah.
So they don't just like pass out the food donations like like a lot of pantries would. Any way you go about it, it's a very cool thing. But I didn't realize that. Is that what they're doing, taking the donations and actually cooking them? I mean, cooking. boxes of pasta or tomato sauce and making spaghetti, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's so smart how they have it set up. So, um, two things. When I think it's 120 pounds of groceries per week per family. You can take up to that, and then a little bit less if you're an individual. But so once a week they have this all prepared, and you can come and you can get your allotment of groceries and get a hot meal at that same time. So quite unique. One of the few remaining ones out there that provides that service. And people that are differently abled, or elderly or infirm people, that truly makes such a difference in their lives. Sometimes that's like, one of the best meals that they're going to get for the entirety of that week. So just cool. I really, it
Yeah,
was so weird. That was my Mr. Rogers moment. They all laughed at me when I said that, but I was like, I just feel, I think he's one of like the most kind-hearted individuals in like recent times, and I resonated with that. That was channeling Fred Rogers as I went through. It's like, this is great.
that's a good channel to have open. I mean, yeah, he's a
Yeah.
Mr. Rogers is a classic and all-time favorite. I mean, I could talk about him all day. I grew up watching Mr. Rogers and
Well, he was
how
he was so big on education. Yeah, that was kind of one of the other things that's at the forefront of our minds, right? Dreaded word in the life of a realtor or a real estate broker: continuing education, right? How's continuing education going for you, Justin?
well, it's going pretty good. It is continuing education, and it is mandatory to keep your license, so it's super important to do. So therefore, I'm more than willing to put in the time and the effort to do it. It's I guess I'm about a third of the way there. I'll be finishing up my last third here in the next couple of weeks. Get that all get that all taken care of. It's interesting. Also, I mean, sure, it takes time out of your day, and you gotta, nowadays, it's all online. I know we used to be able to do it in person, which would be, that'd be pretty cool too. Sit in the classroom and kind of get it done that way. There's pros and cons. I don't mind doing it, on my time. Either it's kind of nice to have the flexibility to do it that way. Um, yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. You're always getting updated on the trends, and there's always legal changes, right? I mean, so there's you're changing the forms a little bit here and there, adding something, taking something away. So, you know, it's important. It's important to keep up on the education. So when we're working with our clients, we're talking about the reality of what's really happening now with a lot of it's with the forms, a lot of it's with laws and things like that. So it's certainly an important aspect of it all. You got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't know your stuff, then not you're not being the best agent that you can be. You got to keep up on that work and make sure you're taking care of the education so you can educate your clients properly. And when it comes down to it, that's the number one goal, is taking care of clients. And it's a people business. You need to be personable and uh, you know educate people the right way. And it all comes down to the education. So while you know these classes are mandatory, I mean, you have to do this. It's there's education that we have to be taking place you know, not just when it's mandatory, but we're always learning. I mean, I know you're always reading books and things like that. Is there anything you've been checking out recently that would be, not just the education part of it, but like something, you're doing on your free time? Because it is a little bit different. I am also very guilty of using my free time to study real estate. Yeah, any new books for you?
That makes me think of a funny. There's a friend of mine that said it. I don't know if it's genuinely his quote, but he says that real estate is my day job, but it also consumes my nights and weekends too. And I think that's very true. Um, I always say that it's a lifestyle, so I kind of really enjoy it. It's truly a passion, and so the continuing education part, it's 18 credits that we need to accrue, and I've been through it a number of times now, and I did used to enjoy the in-person class setting because I think you'd get a little bit more like conversation or a little bit more how it might like practically apply to things. But I will say I was impressed this year with a number of different examples of how on point the WRA was, and actually conveying the message that was consistent with how the market is actually performing today as we see it. So kind of cool about that. I don't I enjoy my goal is to become a lifelong learner, right? And that's gone in spurts for me over the entirety of my life. I'm in big time embedded right now in just trying to take in as much knowledge as I can. A goal this year was just reading as many books as I could, and happy to announce that this will be a record-setting year in number of books that I've read. And at any given time, I always have at least two books that I'm reading. One usually for business or personal development, and then another of just special interest. And sometimes that one spills over a little bit into that like personal development as well. But yeah, I'm rereading for the second time The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. And every time you revisit something, you're a little bit different. Uh, the place that you are in your life is a little bit different. And if you haven't read The One Thing, I recommend it. It's really resonating with me, and especially this time of year. I think a lot of people would be surprised at how much actually goes into the business planning of any given year, so that Justin and I and Miranda and Kelly can, truly best serve our clients and make it look seamless, and all of those little things that add up to the one thing, and that is helping our clients. So how about you? You got any good reads in the works right now, or?
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. That sounds like a pretty cool read.
It's a quick read.
Uh, yeah, The One Thing in Gary Keller. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I recognize that name. That's Gary Keller from Keller Williams fame, right?
The very same, yeah.
And who's the other gentleman? I assume he's a gentleman. That the author.
Uh, I'm not entirely certain. He's another author. He's authored a number of books. He's one of the higher ups at KW, and they've got a podcast that kind of supports it. So between books and podcasts, that's a pretty significant portion of my day. Just nerding out nonstop, like gotta read this book, I gotta listen to these two podcasts. So he's another high achiever that really kind of helped break down some of the things that Gary Keller just did as like natural. That's just kind of how he's wired. He's pretty close to crossing the threshold of being a billion in net worth, and Jay kind of followed him around and helped collate, compile the book and get it into
Okay,
concise form. Yeah,
cool, cool. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
it's good.
I working on read right now. I got a couple of them too. One of them is called "The War of Art." You've heard that? Heard of that one? I apologize to the author. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. But "The War of Art" is a really interesting book. It's certainly works for anybody, whether you're an artist or a professional. No matter what career you're in, what it's about is getting over resistance primarily. That's like what like the main focus of the book is, and uh, the author kind of tells about his struggle with getting over resistance. And this is the first book he wrote that uh, wasn't a story theme kind of book. It was just kind of just some his philosophy on resistance and what resistance does to a person, and how resistance is one of our greatest battles. Dealing with resistance is one of our greatest battles, and it's a fascinating book. It's super inspiring. Whether you're a musician and your dream is to be a working musician someday, whether you whatever it may be, his main goal in the book is whether it's being a musician or whether you want to uh, you know be a governor or whatever, right? Anything. It's like you just got to do it. You just have to face your resistance and put yourself into those positions in order to kind of attain the next uh, next chapter of your life. And it doesn't stop there, right? Because there's always resistance, and resistance, just like like any obstacle, resistance is the same kind of thing. It's you know if you don't have resistance, then you're not pushing yourself enough.
Yeah,
And once you feel that comfort level, then you need to start moving again, because we don't want to plateau, right? We want to keep going, keep moving, keep pushing it. So that's kind of the book. The War of Art. Clever name too, right? Because you, of course, Sun Tzu, Art of War. This flips the story a little bit, and it's the War of Art.
that's awesome, man. That sounds super on point for 2020. That's for sure. That's kind of interesting that you're talking about the plateau. That's one of the big things, and the one thing actually is they call it the OK plateau, and continuing education, devotion to being a lifelong learner puts you on the path to mastery. And for a good number of people out there, they hit the OK plateau, and that's as far as they'll ever take things because it's okay. That's okay. And that is okay, but for those people that want to take it a step further, and this applies to any any aspect of your life, whether it's personal, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's faith, Maybe it is related to business. Um, that that is something that I think you have to be intentional with that and understand that it is a path, and that's the focus, right? We get oftentimes too hung up on the destination or the goal. And the other thing that I really liked that you touched on was when you come close to achieving the goal, when you're not hitting that resistance, that's something that the One Thing talks about too, is that billionaire mindset or that super high achiever mindset. They don't tend to hit their goals too often because they are, as soon as they come close to achieving that goal, they set it higher so that, keep pushing and striving for what is possible. So apt for 2020.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I don't know if I touched on this in the last podcast, but it's just the idea of the process of it all. Like, no matter what it is, like that's what fascinates me about anything. It's like it's not the destination. I mean, the destination is just it's a nice reward, but once you get there, you know, it's okay, right? It's like that's an okay place to be, but what fun is it without the adventure and learning the process and figuring out a new way to move? It's certainly a joy, and I love how we find all these books, and there's so many of them that are just you know it's like a lot of times you already know a lot of this stuff, but it's just so fun to hear it, and I think it's it seems important just to keep reiterating those facts, and I don't know if they're facts, but just those philosophies, theories to myself. And I love how people put them into words that are just inspiring and beautiful.
Amen, man. Yeah, it can just really reinforce sometimes things that you already knew, or ideas that you had, or help solidify beliefs. And I think that nowadays is just certainly incredibly more important. We all need things to look forward to, but the realization that this is what we have, here's where we are now, sign on for that adventure. That's what excites me too. And um, I I would say sometimes I'm guilty of be careful what you wish for, right? Because you'll achieve it and then you're like, oh my gosh, was that really what I wanted? Or was I happier two steps down the line on on the transition to this object or this place, or this goal. So yeah, that's deep. It's cool.
Fun stuff.
Piggybacking on that, I would say, path to mastery. We just again want to take a step back and humble ourselves that we are the students, and our clients are the greatest teachers. And we're just thrilled to announce that this November will be the best month for the Witkins Realty team in the history of our incarnation here. And that is 100%, 1,000%, all possible because of the support of continual support of friends and family and clients, business associates. We could not do any of this. We could not reach those levels that we hope to reach. We could not help as many people as we hope to help without you guys. And just humbled by it, and taking in everything, all of the challenges that 2020 has thrust upon all of us, and doing our best to prop everyone up and help them achieve their goals as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, just really give so many thanks to everybody that, you know, has done anything, to help us. And without having having people show that love, we would have, you know, we wouldn't have anything without the people, man. It's that's what it's all about.
That's
And
what we're building it
I'm
for sure.
so thankful for the people that I know. I mean, it's the community that we have around us, and people that we meet. So many good people around us, Justin. We're lucky.
Beyond blessed for sure. Yeah. And I think it's important to be thankful for the entirety of the year. uh, November in particular, we have one holiday that tends to bring that at the forefront, and I like that. Thanksgiving is genuinely becoming one of my favorite holidays, and not necessarily because of the history connected with it, but more so the just putting gratitude at the forefront. And it's a date on the calendar, but if that's what it takes to kind of force that issue and highlight continually how important that is in everyone's lives, I'm all for that. So we just want to thank everybody again so much. We thank you for tuning in, and market is still going very strong. If there's anything that Justin or I can ever do to help you out, we are here to do that. So please do not hesitate to reach out.
Here for you anytime.
Talk to you guys soon. Thanks.